guys all probably know him, but just in case you don't, I want you to get acclimated with this man. He is one of my favorite humans on planet Earth. His name is Frazer Brookes. That is how you say it, Americans, by the way. Okay, we've been saying it wrong. It's Fraser, not Fraser. And so at any rate, he's incredible. He's been around the profession for 31 years, which I know sounds weird because he's 31 years old. But that is because his parents are some of the most successful network marketers of all time. And so he has years and years and decades of wisdom. And he's just so fun to be around. So I don't want to take up too much time edifying him because I'll be here all day long, but we have so much goodness we want to share with you today. And so ladies and gentlemen, my privilege and honor, this is Frazer Brookes.
I am so impressed. I'm so impressed because we did not plan that introduction. Jessie Lee didn't look back at her notes. She just remembers all of even 31, no one remembers 31.
I mean, I can tell you, he's from Liverpool, but he lives in Cologne, Germany. His beautiful fiancée, Svetlana.
No,
yes, I know all the things.
I need to up my game.
Yeah, you do. I'm just kidding.
So here's the really weird thing when you're recording this, we're recording it into a phone, so you don't know whether to look at the interviewer's eyes or you don't know to look into the
We're both
phone.
kind of staring at a phone for no reason.
So now it's like, hey everyone, I'm looking at the phone, and now we can't look at each other because now it's awkward.
Nah, okay, it is kind of awkward, right? It's okay, it's fine.
Yeah, so we're here in Naples, and it's just, now I'm literally not looking at you. We're just looking at the golf course. It's just, you know, it's so fun. It's always cool to hang out with you, and I learned so much. And just coming to an event like this, we're at a generic event, coming to learn and coming to train and speak and stuff. I learned so much just by you being present and your energy. You give so much energy to people. I'm surprised you haven't any left yourself.
Yeah, well.
To be honest with you. I know I used to be the same.
I feel the same with you. I think that's probably why we're such kindred spirits. For those of you who don't know, Fraser and I finally met in person for the first time last year at GoPro, so a little over a year ago now, and he had to follow me on stage, so that was fun.
Horrible.
But
horrible.
But both of us are just kind of energy bombs. He's sort of the male energy bomb who lives across the pond, and I'm over here holding down America, I feel like, the female version.
Maleenergybomb.com. I've got to get that. I've got to get
If it's available, you really should buy it. But we have so many congruencies in our businesses and so much alignment. I remember him being on stage and he was using the example of running with one leg in a circle instead of using both and running forward. And I've used the example of swimming, where even if you doggy paddle, or in his case, take a slow walk forward, if you're using the two legs, you're going to get forward, as you've probably heard me train on, or you've heard Fraser train on before. And he got off stage, I'm like, shut up, we're like the same person but different. So it's been an incredible friendship, very fast friendship that just got very deep very quickly. And yeah, we have very similar backgrounds in the way that we both sucked to begin with, and then we both built very big social media followings. So we want to talk about that. We want to talk about building international businesses. We want to talk about culture, and then we'll kind of see where this conversation goes.
Yeah, I was looking back, thinking back. I mean, I'm in Naples. I'm looking at palm trees. I'm surrounded by incredible people. I'm looking at a golf cart. I can see just greenery, blue sky, there's a few clouds, and I just think I can't believe this is my life. And me and Jessie Lee, we literally text this to each other once every 3 or 4 weeks. This is not our life, right? And you know, a lot of people, when they get the success, they're like, oh yeah, this is my life, I deserved it. I mean, we deserve it, but we always remember that I was 1000% the biggest loser you would have ever met. And my biggest regret still is, and I think it always will be, is that I didn't document the journey when I first started.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they get started, especially in the health and wellness space or the skincare space or whatever, they document the journey from a before and after photo perspective, but not a video perspective. You can't really take a photo of what confidence looks like. Oh, there you go, bam, you look so confident now. No, but you can do a video. I mean, if you showed one of your your first ever videos,
I actually have.
I'm so jealous.
I have a Zoom from maybe 8 years ago where I'm actually yelling at our team. So it's miserable for me to say this. I'm so embarrassed.
It's painful.
They didn't show up to an event. 2 people showed up or something, and we had a team of 12, which most people would be so proud, right? And I was mortified at them. So I made some crazy video where I'm like, you say you want this business, da, da, da. It's awful. And then I've seen, my first lives, because as soon as Facebook Live came out, I instantly, day one, started using the platform. Those are hideous.
Oh, I didn't.
I really feel like it's like you said, the failure to document, it inspires more people than you know, because you might hear us on a podcast now and we're polished, or we get on stages and it all sounds good, it all looks good, it all whatever. But realistically speaking, we were not good. I mean, photos,
Terrible.
I look at some of these photos I used to take. I'm like, oh my word, that's terrible. Like, what is that angle? What is that sunlight or lack of sunlight? I'm staring at a wall. Like, but you have to suck in order to get good.
Yeah, I mean, I never used to wash my hair because I thought no one would care anyway.
Really?
Like, I mean, yeah, it was gross.
Oh.
Like a week of not wearing it. Like, you think it's all right now?
No, you're not dirty. I looked instantly. I'm like, is he still dirty?
He's washed. No, I know that sounds
Friends,
gross.
he's washed, okay?
Yeah, I'm washed. Yeah, just about. So yeah, no, for me, it took me a while to get into Facebook Live because I just kept worrying about what other people thinking.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just crazy how that kind of comes about and how that's the case. It just, that one leap and that one change of, you know what, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this because if I don't do this, I'm not going to get anywhere. You know, there's that classic Jim Rohn, isn't there? You know, for things to change, you've got to change. Things get better, you've got to get better, and all that. But the energy I created around becoming the person I needed to be, and I've not changed, I've just unlocked the superhero within me, really.
Yeah.
And as a result, the following grows, everything grows. People come at you and say, "You've changed my life." And when people come to you and say that, it's just weird, isn't it? I mean, it's weird. You accept it, but it's like.
It's like, how me? Why me? Like, what?
Yeah, like, why me?
I was talking to, so funny you say that. I was talking to Simon Chan last night at dinner, and I'm like, I genuinely have had those moments where I'm like, why me? Like, why am I the multimillionaire? These people are working hard. What's the difference? Or like, what did I do differently? Like, why am I the chosen one, sort of a thing? And I was in Germany, obviously, for the better part of a month, this last month, and I was getting interviewed a lot, and somebody, Sasha, he was asking me, he's like, what did you do differently? And I was like feeling like I was having to pull stuff out of my butt almost. Like, I don't know. I fight this in my head all the time. Like, I'm not different. And then I realized there are definitely things I have sacrificed that you almost forget about. And so I started taking it back where it's like, okay, as an example, there was this party, because I was in party plan before I was in network marketing.
Yep.
There was this event 4 hours away, this party, and it was on an up for grabs forum on the internet. And I said, oh, I'm going to go. So I grab it on the thing. I messaged the girl. I said, I'll take your party. The girl says, oh, you don't want to go. It's these girls from a trailer park. They're poor. They're broke. They're not going to buy anything. And I said, look, I'm so broke and I'm so poor and I'm so bad. Like, I don't know how to sell. My parties are failures and nobody wants to book from them. And I don't have parties on my books and I don't have any recruits and I've got to take this party. And I told myself, if I sell $100, then I can at least cover gas. I still can't afford a hotel, or who cares? The hotels are not even, no. We can pull over at a rest stop and take a nap. Like, I'm so poor. And I went and I did the party, even though this girl said all these things, and it was over a $2,000 party. I recruit 3 people on the spot. I have countless parties booked from there. Like, if I look at my train of business from that one decision, and there were so many examples of, just because somebody says something, I think too many people, especially in the beginning of their journey, they're letting other people dictate their future success by saying stuff like that. Most people would hear that and be like, oh yeah, maybe I won't do the party either. Maybe I won't go either. Maybe I won't take the 4-hour drive, 3-hour party, 4-hour drive, no break. And I was willing to do those things. So what are some things that you, I'm curious now, what are some things you think you've done in your journey that have made you as successful as you are today that people aren't willing to do?
Well, you mentioned courage, right? And I have like a 3-step process, like real quick. Like, you make the decision, you commit to the decision, and then the 3rd step is you have the courage to actually take action. So I decided I was going to join network marketing. I had £12, which is like $16 in my bank account. I committed to actually making it work. So what I had to do is I went to my mum and dad and said, Mum and Dad, I was 22 years old. Mum, Dad, can I have $249, please? Because that's how much I needed to join. They said no. Mum and Dad always said, no, we'll never give you any money. Like, you don't deserve the money, but you deserve the skills. So they gave me skills. So if any of you parents out there, give your kids the skills, don't just feed them with money, especially when you get successful. That's just my opinion, how I was brought up. So what I did is I went, the only other way is I go to my nan's house. So I went to my nan's house, I sat my nan down, I had to ask my, at the time, like 80-something year old nan, I had to ask her if I could borrow money from my nan, right? And she's got pennies to live off, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like pensions and all that. And she said, you look really excited about this. Yes, but the only one rule is, please can you give me my money back when you've got it?
Oh.
That was my first ever why. I've got to make $249 back to pay my grandmother. And I remember being sat in my car about to drive to my grandmother's house saying, I can't do this. I can't go to my grandmother's house and ask her for money. That's just the wrong thing. I should be giving to my grandmother. And I just had the courage to put the accelerator on. And that was just one example of like so many different things. And I think the second thing, obviously decide, commit, courage is the first thing. The second thing is to remember then and this is where a lot of leaders mess up, I think, and this is one of the reasons why I think you continue to grow at an exponential rate worldwide. Your brand is, you as a person, your energy is just ridiculous. Is that you keep telling your loserland story. Like, you're a legend now. Like, people call you legend, people call you an icon, people call you like the number one, and people say all this thing about you, but you're not going out there and telling the world, I'm amazing, I'm the best, you can be like me one day. You're saying, I know what it's like, I've been where you've been, and I'm going to be able to take you to where I'm going, because I'm still growing too. And people people come and say like, oh, you know, I've had the success, it's not as easy to recruit as it used to be, I used to be so much better when I had nothing. Your story now is way better. You've got the success, and you can tell people who haven't got the success to get the success, but you're not doing it because somehow you think like you're too good for telling the little average person, right? It drives me crazy, and it's just a common thing that keeps happening. So I think having the courage, but then also telling the story of your transformation and not just you transformed. Like
even today, right, when I asked people on stage, I said, you know, who here you joined and you knew you wanted to make $1 million, you know, and I said, oh, and a lot of people raise their hand. I'm like, I don't think they understood the question.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, no, like really? Because when I joined, I needed $300. You're right, I do tell that story a lot, you know, but yeah, $300 a month. A month.
Me too. For 3
so
years
crazy.
to get 10K.
Oh my gosh, that's a wild.
$300 a month to make 3 years to make $10,000 to pay off my student loan.
I love that. Crazy. But it's so real because that's a real goal. You know, the electric bill is a real goal. The rent, in my case, is a real goal. Student loans, 10 grand, real goal. And I think if we're talking in these gigantic, I've made whatever, I just don't think people relate.
Well, that's a bit like Jim Rohn. He had 0 customers, 0 distributors, 0 network marketing experience. Eric Worre, same. Jessie Lee Ward, same. Frazer Brookes, same. You name it, every single person started at 0. And you know, you just grow from there. But again, you got to have the courage to do it. A lot of people don't. Oh no, I've got to send this Facebook message, but oh, like what happens if they say I'm a loser, or they're going to send me a hand gesture, or they're going to block? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares?
But I tell you, it took me a while to get that who cares attitude. Like,
right.
I was getting burnt after burnt. You were doing party plans that didn't feel like they were a party.
Yep.
Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's all part of it, is doing those things that other people aren't willing to do. It's interesting you mentioned, you know, some people just need to be challenged, because the challenge is actually why I started the live video. So it's not that I was confident, it's not that I thought I'd be good, it's not that I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to go live 800 times, I think it was 700 some odd days in a row. It wasn't any of that. It was that I was actually challenged to do a 30 days of video. Right. This is before live existed. And I said, okay, I'll commit to 30 days of video. And I was bad, right? Like I would upload a 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute video every day for 30 days. And then somewhere around day 26, 27, like Facebook Live became a thing. And I remember staring at that stupid button for way too long, right? Like that go live thing. And I'm like, I'm trembling, right? And I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to vomit. And it's funny because I still remember I hit live, and this is back when like you would go live and nobody was going live, obviously, since this is day 1 of Facebook Live. And so instantly you're thrown in every Tom, Dick, and Harry's, you know, Facebook feed. So, and it's telling me, you know, this person's watching. I'm like, oh my God. This whole time I'm reading the screen and I'm just mortified. I'm like, I haven't seen that person since I'm 7.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's my aunts, uncles, brothers. Oh my, yeah, like, oh God, there's my mom. Like, I'm watching all these names. And so if you think, you know, people like Fraser and myself haven't felt that, oh my God, this person's on, you know. No, I absolutely felt all of that. It was just that I was challenged, and I thought, and I mean, instantly it's almost like I was seeing the fruits of that labor of being very uncomfortable and doing something people weren't willing to do and still not willing to do. It was incredible.
You and I are the same opinion, though, is you can build a network marketing business without using your friends and family.
I will never teach.
Yeah.
Go make your list of your friends, family. And I know people do. You and I both love Eric, but I can't subscribe to that because
you didn't.
I never did, and I like having almost that fine line where don't misunderstand this. What can be misunderstood will be misunderstood. Those of you listening. Yeah. And by the way, if you're getting value, make sure you're screenshotting this and putting in your stories and tagging Frazer Brookes as well.
Wow.
But
just
that's right. That's right. I sure did. Yeah. But I really felt like so many people. Shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Dang it.
Yeah, that was my fault.
No, it's okay.
List.
Oh yeah.
Building list. Friends and family.
Don't get me misunderstood. I've sold to cousins. I've sold to my mom. I've sold to my dad. I've sold to a couple people here and there that are friends, family, of course. But I have never been the one to approach them. I think it's almost like that holy line where it's not necessarily the low-hanging fruit. And what I have seen is that people who tell people to build those lists, they burn out their teams very quickly because people then get so discouraged. Those are the easiest no's. Those aren't the easiest yeses, even though people think they're going to be. And so then I think people get discouraged and then they quit their business or they just decide this isn't for me well before they even give it a fair shot.
And there's a saying, your friends won't support you until they see strangers celebrate you. And I think like if you can master the art of growing a list, like never running out of people to talk to, whether it's you do Instagram stories, your Facebook lives, your podcasts, whatever it might be. On that, by the way, what is your favorite thing to do when it comes to like a social media perspective? Like, I know I've seen you crushing it on TikTok. I'm like really jealous because you just got it. I haven't. Like, I look like Napoleon Dynamite.
We should probably dance.
We
should do a TikTok before we're out of here.
That's all I know. I keep hearing it, but I haven't got it. I just haven't got it. I move like a
We'll
fridge.
do something. Yeah, but that's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so go on. You do it all because you do it all. You're everywhere.
Yeah, my favorite thing on social, it's interesting because until this week, I would have said Facebook still.
Yeah, me too.
It's interesting because I listened to another podcast called Business Wars. I don't know if you listened to it. Simon actually turned me onto it about a year ago. But it's about the Facebook wars. It's Facebook versus Snapchat. There's a
whole thing on it.
Yeah, like a whole 5-6 segment series on it. And they're talking about the competition between the two and how greedy it is starting to get. And for me, I was like, oh, come on, like really greedy, And then of course, here I am, my Facebook got literally deleted for a day, and now I'm back and I'm in nobody's feeds, and I'm like,
What? We need to fix that one.
Well, it doesn't matter. That was kind of the nice thing. And so I think this should be a wake-up call for everybody where it's like, that was my main moneymaker. I've made multi-millions of dollars on Facebook without spending any money yet. And it's almost like we've been talking about ad spend now, how much money are we going to put into this, etc. And now I'm like, do we put the money there? Or do we put it on Instagram? Do we put it on LinkedIn? Do we put it on YouTube? Where do we put the money? Because I almost feel like betrayed. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I know. I know exactly how you feel, because when you're like, they kind of like want to limit your growth.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Very strange.
Really weird. So I get that. So with that being said, then, what do you want to focus on?
Yeah, so I'm very glad that I went in on Instagram hard as well. Now my Instagram has tremendous following.
Yeah, you crush it on yours.
It's crazy. I think stories, especially on Instagram, are how I built a lot of my following. But I give a lot of directive to people. I'll give some right now, so I give you some value on this podcast, and it's not just conversational. Like one thing I have as a DMO is I actually go under hashtags every single day, and there's hashtags I follow, whether that's MLM or network marketing or my hometown moms, I'm just saying, like, wherever you live, put your hometown moms, your hometown fitness, your hometown dads, your hometown whatever, stay-at-home mom, whatever, your hometown small business. And I have a daily method of operation that I actually comment on a certain number of those every single day. But I go under the recent tab and I comment especially on people who are posting photos of themselves. And so what that's done for me then is I'm going in on there, and I have the ability then to cultivate local followers. And this has really changed the game for me. It's also gotten a lot more followers in general, and then I'm becoming known in my area more too. So it's kind of like a double-edged thing, but I love Instagram, and this year we're going all in as well on YouTube, because YouTube, of course, is a search engine, and YouTube is much more of a masculine thing. But even still, one of the questions I ask everybody who sends me a friend request on Facebook is I say, where did you find me and what questions can I answer for you? And more, even though I only have 3,000 YouTube followers, I do nothing on there really. And I have a handful of videos. I'm getting a ton of, I found you on YouTube. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've got nothing on there.
So I did a little research yesterday on the keyword research for Jessie Lee Ward. And Jessie Lee Ward YouTube channel was in the top 10 searches. So
oh my gosh, we've got to go all in.
I need to share with you all the stuff. But so you and me are so similar. So I have a 555. That's like kind of my DMO. So I do 5 hashtags, 5 posts, 5 words or more in the comments. So I just find 5 hashtags, five different posts in each one, and then 5 comments or more. Some days I do it, sometimes I don't. 5 words in the comments. The second thing I do is I go into my followers list, I go into my, so I click on, go onto my Instagram, go into followers, and the three most recent followers, I audio message them to say, hey, at blah, 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 blah. Just wanted to say thank you so much for following me. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you more, and I hope my content brings value to you.
Oh, I'm stealing that. I love
like
that.
80% of people are replying going, oh my, some of them who aren't, maybe they're like, oh, I didn't know I was following you. Like, who are you?
Sure.
But again, it's just, and I do that when I'm walking down the street. It takes me less
no
than a minute
time.
to do that. But every time someone does, imagine if Tony Robbins was to do that to you. You'd be like, Tony is the best guru ever on the planet, blah, 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 blah.
It's the same thing with responding back to stories and stuff. People don't think about it, even if it's just a double tap, or even if it's a little heart, or even if it's a little quick message, like, I appreciate you, I see you, whatever, thank you, or this means a lot to me. It's like you just said, like, whenever I do this in front of an audience, I say, like, who's your celebrity? And then they're all yelling out celebrities, and I was like, okay, so if J-Lo, if J-Lo responded to something you sent her, would you not, like, crap your pants? Like, you'd freak out, you'd screenshot it, you'd do everything. And so a lot of what I do, I think, is relationship marketing, and I know you do the same, and you just create these relationships, shout outs on lives, or commenting on their pages instead of just commenting back on yours. And the amount of people who have screenshotted that and then help build my brand because they're posting on their wall, oh my gosh, look at this screenshot, Jessie Lee's a real human, she commented on my whatever, has been just
well, here's the thing,
massive.
This is what I think you'll get from me and Jessie Lee. Like, a lot of people in business talk about ROI, return on investment. We kind of build more, I'm kind of speaking for Jessie Lee here, but we build on return on intention. Right, that's ROI. Our intention is to help you. Our intention is to grow you. Our intention is to develop you. That's the intention. And the intention we get back from that is growth ourselves.
Right.
It's not, a lot of people look at business and the whole, like, the investment you're making, but I think intention is so important. I love that. I'm really starting to get into Instagram, and it's just like, it's like a game.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole followers thing, but like it is a game to try and up your game to get a better following sort of thing.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this a lot, obviously. Like, we've both noticed that video on Instagram is wild, so we've been putting out a lot more videos, and I just think that's the fastest way to learn and to grow, is just to do and to be bad at it.
Yeah.
I think too many people are trying to make things perfect. Too many people are trying to, you're spending too much time rereading your caption before you post it. You're spending too much time, thinking about it before you put out the story. And I would argue that that's a waste of your time.
Yeah, I mean, what would you prefer? Would you prefer spending 15 minutes to create a post or 15 minutes engaging?
Right.
Like, I think it's just a decision people have to make. Like, oh, well, that filter's not so great. Like, just go and comment on 5 people's posts.
Just comment, just love on people, just create those relationships. I really like that return on intention.
Yeah, it's a bit breezy here. The palm trees are going wild. I'm thinking that might fall on us there.
I don't think so. I hope not.
No, that looks very sturdy. That looks very, very
good.
sturdy.
I think we're okay.
So, like, here's one thing. So, Facebook Lives, tough, tricky, a lot of people. There's a tool that people might get benefit from called OneStream.live. So OneStream.live allows you, I only recommend this for people who have genuine phobias, like they just are paralyzed. So you can actually record a video, you can upload it into OneStream.live, and you can actually then schedule it to play onto Facebook, and I believe it does onto YouTube too.
Wow.
So obviously you can't be like, hey Mary, hey Bob, thanks for the comment. Like,
or you could, and you could pretend.
Well, you could pretend, yeah. Like, right, Mary, at 1 p.m. you've got to go on and engage in my post. Yeah, so there's a plane, everyone. The plane's trying to get in on the action.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, that's just a really cool thing for people who's maybe struggling with Facebook Lives, Yeah, I love live video.
I do too.
I love all video.
It's interesting because we wanted to talk a little bit about building internationally, and a lot of the reason I have an international business, quite frankly, is because of my live videos. That's how I got into Asia. Was somebody from China watched a Facebook Live of mine and said, "Oh, I want to come meet you. I want to be part of your team." Like crazy. And I also think lives are a great way to connect. Then it allows me to build this gigantic international team, and they really, even if they don't speak the same language, they feel the energy through it. And that's just created sort of a different dynamic.
But your content is so conversational based. That's one thing. If you really, because I study people, right? I don't just like watch people. I study Jessie Lee Ward. Like I study what she does. I see her content. I look at it and be like, whoa. And a lot of it, I mean, here we made like 3 words on a piece of paper, like on an iPad, right? It's not being. The intention is to help you. There's no intention for her, but again, I'm looking at it as like, wow, it's so conversational based. And if you produce content that creates conversation, you're going to win. And you have conversation with all these people around the world.
Right.
Because you're creating the right content.
Right.
But because you're just putting so much out there, you're not going, oh, this is not going to be a hit, this is not going to be a hit. And we chat all the time saying like, hey, the post I've just made is an absolute banger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, It's flying.
Yep.
You figure out exactly why, because you know your audience and your future audience. So.
Sure. And so the content that creates conversation, it's just content. Like, don't overthink what you're posting would be a huge tip of mine. And it's truly, it's quantity before quality when it comes to this at first. You're going to be bad at it, so just massively slam any social media platform you're comfortable with as much content as possible, and then you'll see what sticks. And in general, like I was just thinking about one message that I sent Fraser when a post was just absolutely ripping.
I remember it.
And a huge takeaway from that is when you're personally developing, too many of you I think are just personal development junkies. You listen and listen and listen and listen and listen and read and read and read and read, but then implement nothing. And so what I would suggest you do, or implement very little, I shouldn't say nothing.
Yeah.
What I've started doing is I want you to start listening or reading or watching or whatever the thing is you like to do, and just stop when you hear something that you're like, that's it, like I can implement that. And there's probably been 40 things in this podcast already where like, oh, I need to do that. Yeah. Just put pause on whatever you're listening to and go implement it right away.
Yeah.
Like, stop overthinking. And every time I up level in something, it's because I stopped when I was developing and I said, okay, that's an action step, that's an action step, that's an action step. And then we review, it's very Eric Worre, but plan, do, review. Just plan to develop and then, oh snap, do it. And then review it. Wow, that really took off. And you'll be surprised with your audience.
Have you always been an executioner? Because
honestly.
Because I never used to be. I used to be the biggest procrastinator ever. But like you execute, like literally you hear something, bang, done.
Yeah,
like,
I'm better at it now. For sure.
Now I am, but when I started, I was like, ugh. I was the classic case of learn something, then you want to know everything. Yeah. Like I just learned one thing, I'm like, all right, that's it. Now I've got to just hide in my cave and just like, like I'm actually doing the facial expressions here. It's kind of weird because I'm like, oh yeah. Like that word, like yeah. I
don't think I was so like I can think back and reflect on times I'd be sitting there and think to myself, wow, I'm really procrastinating on this, and that's normal. Like I think we all procrastinate, especially those of us who are perfectionists. You're gonna, you're really spelling procrastination wrong. If you're a perfectionist, you're a procrastinator. Right. And I think I had that, but I will tell you, I think that when your passions start to align with what you're doing, I really think that cuts a lot of that out. I noticed that as soon as I got really excited about things, the procrastination cut itself off because if I look at how much I procrastinated in my party plan, even though it was a method to make a lot of money, and I look at how much I now am just so plugged in and so aggressive in how I am, and like you said, just an executioner. It's because I'm very passionate. It's because I'm very excited about what I'm doing. I don't look at the podcasting as, ugh, I have to do it. I go, ooh, it's Monday. I forgot it's Monday. Yeah. We got to get it done. Like, oh, it's 1 a.m. Crap, it's technically not Monday, but it's Monday somewhere. Let's go,
Well, we're like accountability partners, aren't we, with that?
Yes.
So we're like, how many have you done this week? Yeah, bang. How many have you done this week? Bang. And you're like, whoa, that was a banger. That was great. I listened to like 7 in a row on the plane. Like, let's go. I listened to you on times 1.5. Yeah. I tried 2.
2's too fast.
But it was like, whoa, because you're a fireball anyway, aren't you? Yeah. Right? So it was, that was cool. But here's what I want everyone to do. I'm going to say this because she says it all the time, and it's not fair that she says it all the time. She's on a run for like a massive milestone of reviews, like 5-star reviews and ratings that I don't think has ever been done in network marketing before. So when obviously we're doing it right now, whether put it on pause right now, let's go and show that you can be an action taker right now. Put it on pause. Go over onto the People's Mentor podcast. Give a 5-star review. 5-star rating. If you feel that's valid, which I'm pretty sure it is. If you could have 10 stars, I would. Right? 5-star review. Leave a review, and you give subscribers like shout outs of the week.
Yeah, fans of the week. So you have to leave a 5-star review for sure, and make sure you're subscribed as well.
Right. Screenshot it once it's done, kind of thing. Screenshot what's on your device right now. Put it onto your Instagram stories.
And $50 giveaway every week. $50. So I mean, I know I'm gracious. What can I say?
Here's what we'll do then.
I'll bribe you for a 5-star review. I'm shameless.
Well, here's what we'll do then. I'll match it.
Hey! Someone's gonna get $100.
There we go, $100. It's worth listening to the whole flipping thing.
That's
but,
true.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you.
I learn from you every single time you open your mouth.
I feel the same way, and it's been an awesome, however many months it's been accountability partners now. I just think our lives are very congruent, and I hope you hear what I'm saying from that, guys, is that I really want you to go out there and find somebody with very similar goals as you, and different skill sets. There are things Fraser's very good at that we're both not all that great at, but then we have the same alignment in our messaging, and so and quite frankly both have very aggressive goals. So for us to be accountability partners just makes sense. You know, you wouldn't ask one of us to be an accountability partner if you're trying to make your first $1,000 or something, right? But there's somebody out there who's listening to this who does need to do that. So make sure you are following both of us, because you'll find people who are obviously congruent as well with your messaging. And you can say, hey, I see that you follow Jessie Lee. I see you follow Fraser. You know, or what are your goals at? Are you are you looking for an accountability partner?
So important.
And then we don't let each other slack. You know,
that's right.
Quite frankly, we kind of yell at each other when things are not getting done. We're like, hey, bro, where's the next podcast? Hey, what's wrong with your whatever? Where's your post? Where's this? Are you learning Russian? What have you been doing?
Oh, I know. Oh, damn, let's not get started with that one.
Yeah, it's hard.
We're getting there. We're getting there. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you. And guys, make sure you follow Fraser. And we're going to have a podcast up on Fraser's podcast here in a little bit as well. Part two will be recorded in a couple of hours. So if you got value from this, make sure you subscribe here. Make sure you subscribe there. Make sure that you're listening and following and doing all the things and leaving reviews. But remember, you're supposed to make those decisions. You're supposed to commit, and you're supposed to have courage. And you too can have an incredible international business. You can build an unbelievable culture. And make sure you're documenting, especially when you're bad, because both of us sucked terribly before you would have ever done this. And my last thing, because I know we got to let him go as well, is I will just tell you that it's not as easy as you think. This for me is 9 years of nonstop. This is not a 1 year run you're looking at. This is not a 2 year run. This is a 9 year run to see this. And especially in this day and age where there's so much competition out there, don't compare yourself, but understand it's going to take a lot more work than you think to get that following, to be able to sell that course, to be able to put out that event, to be able to make the $1 million business. But you have to start today. You can't start when it's convenient. You just have to go, and then it will blow up. But it's not going to be today. It might not be tomorrow. But as long as you're consistent, you too can build the business of your dreams.
Fire emoji. I can't add anything to that.
Well, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for all your coaching and training and everything you do for this profession. Quite frankly, you just give and you give and you give. And I love that it's with that intention, like you said. And your return on intention will be a return on investment for sure.
There we go.
I love you very much.
Insert hug here.
Yay! We love you guys. We appreciate you. Thank you for reviewing. Thank you for following. And we'll see you next time. Bye! Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. Sorry that we weren't looking at you that whole time, but we're fired up because we have part 2 coming. So if you're interested in more Frazer Brookes and more Jessie Lee, check out part 2.
Somewhere here.